While San Francisco has one of the deadliest tight ends in the league in George Kittle, the depth behind him has been questionable to say the least. So a little bit unsurprisingly this entire offseason, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have been searching far and wide for their tight end too. And most recently they did this by signing Eric Saubert from the Houston Texans. But to really understand the player Saubert is, and if he could feasibly actually fill into that role of tight end 2 that's really been lacking for the last couple of years for San Francisco, I'll examine his athletic profile, his career up to this point, and his most recent year's film. Build and athletically speaking, he's pretty prototypical, coming in at 6'5" and weighing 250 pounds. And while he's not George Kittle fast, he has some get up, running his 40-yard dash in 4.6 seconds, and he put up the bench press 22 times at the combine. So far across his NFL career, he's really been known for using his strength to be an effective blocker, especially in the running game. But while his measurements tell part of a player's story, it's only part. And to fully understand the player he is, we must break down his career up to this point and his most recent year's film. Eric Saubert was born in Chicago, Illinois on May 9, 1994 and started his football career at Hoffman Estates High School, playing primarily tight end and wide receiver. And while he was a standout in the local area, being known for his prowess in the passing game, the fact is he just wasn't heavily recruited, so he decided to commit to Drake University. And from 2012 to 2016 at Drake, Saubert accumulated over 2,100 yards and 20 touchdowns. After his final season in 2016, he decided to enter the 2017 NFL Draft. And with that, scouts decided to jump into his film a little bit more deeply, and they saw positives as well as negatives. As far as strengths go, Saubert showed off a great combination of size and speed across his time at Drake. And really his highlight reel was one of the better for tight ends. On one play for instance, you would watch him absolutely moss someone, to only watch him level another player the following play. And while there were a lot of strengths, there were also clear weaknesses. Perhaps the most notable were his concentration drops. While he had some crazy athletic catches in college, he also had some plays where you were just like, how did you drop that? He would be running wide open and then it would bounce off his mitts. And that was a big reason why scouts docked him. While he showed off great highlights, he also showed off a pretty low floor at times. Overall, scouts thought he needed refinement in both his routes and blocking to be an effective tight end at the next level, and most scouts graded him as a day 3 pick. And with the 2017 draft, the Atlanta Falcons selected Eric Saubert in round 5 with pick 30. And across his NFL career, he has spent time with the Falcons, Bears, Jaguars, Broncos, and most recently, the Texans. Across his time in the NFL, he's amassed nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, and while he's not the biggest threat in the passing game, he's truly cut his teeth as a blocker. And I think this is exactly what San Francisco should be looking for. This should help free up George Kittle in the passing game, and really, his numbers could explode because of this. If they have a solid tight end too they can leave into block, then George Kittle can go out on some routes. To really highlight my point, how Saubert has really developed into a proficient NFL blocker, let's break down his most recent year's film. On this play, for instance, Saubert does a great job of containing this end, and then once he gets engaged, he's not letting go, and he even drives him down the field. This is an end, mind you, and a much lighter tight end, so you're asking a lot for Saubert to actually make this play, but nonetheless he does. Now on this play, watching him move a little bit more, he's going to be tasked with kicking out this outside linebacker, and I think he does a great job in open space of engaging with players and staying engaged and driving them out of the play. To further highlight this point, I want to focus on how Saubert is able to get to this linebacker, get engaged, and he does not once again disengage until this play is basically over. Watch how he continues to try to drive, he flips his hips, and this backer's way out of the play by this point. Overall, from his college days, I think he's improved in his consistency, especially in his blocking. He seems much more eager to block at the NFL level. And while I think he's much stronger as a blocker than a pass catcher, you can also utilize him here, especially if you mix in plays like this, where he's asked to fake kind of block and then make his way out into a flat or in a safe spot for your quarterback to throw. He does a pretty good job of just finding these nice soft spots in zones. Like on this play, I think he does a nice job of leaking out on this route and just makes himself an easy target to his quarterback. And now with a bird's eye view against the Broncos, you get to see a similar type of play, and then he just finds his way into the soft spot as I mentioned. Overall, when I do look at the signing of Eric Saubert, while he probably won't light up the stat sheet as a wide receiver, I think it really does free up George Kittle to get more involved in the passing game. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts of San Francisco's signing, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton if you liked and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.